we'd like to explain to you a very interesting project we've been involved in, and we know intimately, having been involved in the design process. It's a very good example of a piece of rail infrastructure that incorporates transit-oriented development as part of the core of its design and part of the job. So the station is the T2 Woodland Station in Singapore. It's called T2, and it's part of the Thomson-East coastline, which is being implemented in stages in Singapore.
Yeah, so the Thomson line, a very important part of the strategic development of the rail asset in Singapore. Obviously a radial line rather than a concentric system. So again, it's connecting from the current CBD to the secondary CBDs that are part of the next master plan of Singapore, and obviously really catalysing the northern sector of Singapore and providing that connection point into the hinterland of southern tip of Malaysia.
The site itself is directly above the station box. Woodland Station is an underground station. It interconnects to an existing above ground station. So in terms of intensity and connectivity, it's prime and important for the Woodlands area. The station itself has 4 entrances that are open and operational today. This allows connectivity to the catchment beyond, which is primarily residential and commercial, directly bordering the station itself.
So moving into the station itself, one of the key challenges is obviously firstly the functionality of the station. The paid links between the existing and obviously the Thomson line is critical in terms of the design discussion itself. But once that's established, you then start to look at how the overall rail asset has a dialogue with the greater development, private development that is to be developed in due course in and around that station box. Now normally we really catalyse the opportunity to provide knockout panels and connections into the unpaid concourse, as we call it, within the station asset. However, the challenge I think with this one obviously was the fact that it's a civil defence shelter as well. So that is an additional bar in terms of where we can have those porous connections into the rail asset proper from the TOD component. And the key issue obviously with that interface from station box proper to ground, the station has key assets that must be retained. Ventilation and obviously points of access from a day-to-day point of view, as well as means of escape in an emergency mode. And as you say, the challenge is to provide maximum flexibility for that future development within reason to be able to relocate those assets wherever possible within the confines of the urban design master plan. So you do have a consideration for building setback lines as they may be conceived in future, and obviously then how you can simulate those entrances as seamlessly as possible into the finished urban fabric.
Yeah, and that sort of comes to the value of the project itself. You know, infrastructure already is a value to a community and a society fundamentally, and it's an operational and functional station. It is completed. The development will happen in due course, in due time. In terms of giving back to the community, it's already connecting to the community. In terms of entrance locations, we've maximized the reach of the station to its community and the commercial development, which is now operational and open. And in terms of flexibility, all the ground level service structures and egress structures that are necessary for a complex underground station have been designed to be relocatable and flexible. And this is one of the strongest values for the future proofing of the site.